Manifesting, the complete guide to the law of attraction to manifest the life you want. Sarah Thompson. Introduction. One of the most powerful tools we have at our disposal is the human mind, a piece of equipment so powerful that modern science has struggled for hundreds of years to understand what our spirits already know, that our power lies within us. By changing the way we think, we can change the way we act, which in turn can bring excellent rewards of increased achievement and contentment. This guide is intended to show you some of the ways in which you can harness the incredible power of your thoughts to make lasting positive changes to major areas of your existence. The law of attraction is the simple idea that, by being a good and positive person, you can attract the good and positive energy you would like to have in your life. It is an easy concept to master, rather like the old adage, you get out what you put in. Whether this is for business or financial gain, friendship or personal lifestyle choices, or to improve your level of happiness and fulfillment, the central premise is that your thoughts can bring about any reasonable wish you desire to have. It really is simple. Chapter 1, Love. The one area of life that often brings us the most pain can also bring us the most joy. Yet very many of us find ourselves stuck in negative patterns, whereby we seemingly attract the same types of people with the same types of energy. This can happen over and over again, and arguably will continue to happen until we learn the lessons that our world is so desperately trying to teach us. If you feel that you are living out the same relationship issues with different faces, then you may well be operating negatively under the law of attraction. It would, therefore, be wise to ensure that this positive force is acting for your benefit rather than for your discomfort. Ancient wisdom tells us that like attracts like, and many of us at one time will become entrenched in reliving relationship dramas we feel we should have long outgrown. This is where your thinking becomes all important. By focusing on the past and adopting those issues as your current ideas, you run the risk of repetition. And so perhaps you always attract partners with a fear of commitment, or you feel trapped in relationships. It is time, therefore, to leave the baggage in the past and focus upon where you are right now and where you are going. For example, when we want to find directions to visit a new city, we do not spend hours talking about all the places we have already been and do not want to go. If we want to attract good and strong people, we must become good and strong people ourselves. We must become that which we would like to attract. While the saying may be true that opposites do attract, these may make for dramatic and unsteady connections. Far better to be honest, open and kind, and then attract another soul who is also honest, open and kind. Our aim, as peaceful beings aiming to manifest our own happiness in our lives, is to seek those who increase our sense of clarity and calm. Additionally, we must, of course, avoid those who disturb it. An integral part of this involves recognizing and making necessary changes to our self-talk, as we all are guilty of telling ourselves things which are unkind and untrue. For example, if you spend a lot of time telling yourself that you attract partners who are controlling, then this also comes with a hidden meaning about yourself, that you can be easily controlled. What we tell ourselves often, we will start to believe. Consider then, that if you begin to tell yourself instead, I am strong, you will begin to feel respect for yourself, and so as a consequence will attract others who will also respect you. Of course you may feel that all of these positive thoughts may come to nothing unless they are also accompanied by positive action. This is true. However, without first having hopeful thoughts, it is unlikely that positive action will occur, let alone come to fruition. The process of manifestation requires you to become willing to take a very deep look at yourself and examine the underlying thoughts and beliefs that may be holding you back, as it is only by the first step of awareness that we can consider the changes that may support us in our quest for contentment. It may even be necessary to begin at the beginning. To go right back to your childhood to consider those thoughts that you have taken with you, perhaps that you sometimes feel you are not good enough, that you have to hide your true self from others, or that you may not be the same as the people you admire. Logically, you may know these statements are untrue, but when they operate within you they can disrupt your flow of positive energy and prevent you from finding true connections with others who are already living in harmony with themselves. Very many of us struggle with the same feelings, however inside you is the light and acceptance you are seeking, as it is only by knowing ourselves that we can allow others to also be known to us. If you are able to be honest with yourself and acknowledge that some parts of you are damaged, some parts of you are dark, and some parts of you are filled with shame, then this step towards loving your own imperfections will allow you to open yourself towards others who will allow you to see their imperfections in return. We are all damaged, and it is so very important to be gentle. Start by creating an inventory of yourself. If you are unsure, ask someone you trust to help suggest your strengths, of which you will discover there are many. It is important to look inside ourselves before we even begin to consider what we would like to find in others. Another person will not complete us, therefore it is important to start where we are, by assessing the qualities we already have and finding ways to develop those we wish to possess. Once you have them, you can then begin to attract them. Remember that the only person you can ever hope to change is yourself. Chapter 2, Money. It may seem contrary to begin a chapter on how to increase the flow of money by stating that money does not bring happiness. This is true that nothing external can bring any emotion at all, as these are generated entirely from within. Consider the fact that an item you have waited a long time to own might be intensely disliked by your friend. The properties of the item itself remain the same, except different emotions are generated from the different ways of experiencing the world of you and your friend. Some other person may be entirely indifferent to the same item. Therefore money brings us the power to buy possessions, and is useful in allowing us to enjoy a more comfortable life. However, the ability to find joy in money is limited to the extent to which we can find joy within ourselves. It could even be suggested that your current financial solvency may be directly related to your current state of mind, as we have discussed before that like attracts like. Despite what we are taught, saving every coin in a miserly style does not result in riches in either the bank or the heart. A high level of anxiety surrounding money or fears over not having enough of it is, in reality, more likely to manifest into less money rather than more. The reason for this is that whatever we devote our time and effort into thinking about is usually what tends to happen. Therefore, those who worry about money, guard it jealously and avoid spending it, may well find themselves feeling poorer than someone who is happy to spend money freely on taking care of their needs. It is also true that those who fear a lack of money tend to spend or lose money very quickly. This may be the result of an internal panic that goes along with having a little more money than usual when we are used to having less. For example, if you grew up in a background of poverty, you may still carry around the burdensome idea that money is scarce. Even though you now have plenty, or at least enough to get by, the fear may still remain of not having enough and becoming poor. This may result in unwise behavior, if you are suddenly awarded a large sum of money. It can become easy to get caught up in the fear that it will not last, which brings on a frenzy of spend it all at once. Until, again, just as you feared, you are left with none. To attract money, we must teach ourselves to enjoy it. We should not be frivolous, unnecessary, or attempt to collect our joy from things. However, appreciating what we have is almost always the key to having more. If we are grateful for the money we have, if we feel thankful to it and for it, then we will become stress-free. If we remove the worry and the angst, if we replace these fears with the idea that more will come when we need it, then we allow ourselves to relax. Therefore, we allow ourselves to enjoy what we have, without wishing for more or worrying about less. Perhaps you are aware that when there is something you must buy as a necessity, for example a repair to your house or an item for your children, there always exists the money to buy it. When we need something we find a way. If you consider this further, you will also notice that this only occurs once we are able to step back and stop from forcing ourselves to solve the problem. Solutions come from a calm mind, a mind that is free of want and grasping. This is where the law of attraction is once again the answer to helping you to live a life of contentment. The first rule here is to accept that money doesn't belong to you. Just like many other things in the modern world, money is an invention. It is simply a tool used by mankind to bargain towards getting fundamental needs met, such as those for food and shelter. If we have these basic things, then we have all we need. Anything more is simply a bonus. Similarly, if we accept that money is not ours, then it makes it easier to accept that we can share it. By being generous with what we have where it will help someone, we can influence our luck to change. This may, at first, sound unlikely. You may question how giving your money away to others can possibly ensure that more is given back to yourself. This is, as always, related to your thinking. Your kindness changes your mindset from one of fearful grasping to one of loosening relaxation. Others are more likely to think of you for future opportunities and for fortune. Inside you, a shift will occur. You will see that good things happen to others. After all, if you can help someone achieve their dreams, then it is that much more likely that someone can also help you to achieve yours. There is no luck. Simply one man passing his good fortune to the next man. Chapter 3, Happiness. Another trap in which we often find ourselves is the predicament of comparing our lives to others. Whatever we have is exactly what we have, and it is our choice whether we accept this or struggle against it. Accepting it does not mean that we cannot change what we have, or have more of it in the future. It simply means that at this moment we can choose to be at peace. We do not need a better job, a faster car, or a larger house. All that we need to be happy we already have within. One of the easiest ways to start feeling contented with what you have is to first recognize it. We have everything from the breath in our lungs to the day in which we are living. It is difficult to consider this with a true level of comprehension and not feel grateful to be here at all. We are small specks on a ball of rock that is turning in space. Yet many of us feel that we will be made happy by some bauble or trinket that will soon languish at the back of a cupboard, replaced by some other item. True happiness is not so much an emotion as it is a daily practice. There is always something for which we can be thankful. Take a look around you, wherever you are sitting right now. Select some things that enhance your life simply by being there. Thank them. This may involve thanking the water at your desk for being in such plentiful supply to keep you hydrated. Perhaps you will thank the fresh air that is cooling your face as you read in the park. Maybe you have a pet that has been a comfort to you at times you have felt unworthy. The key is to be there, wherever you are. So often we find ourselves taken away from the moment by concerns from yesterday, or later, or tomorrow. This is the ultimate manifestation to find genuine and healthy contentedness exactly where we are right now. It is important to note that we cannot work our way to happiness. It is not something we do, it is something we are. And we can only get that by first accepting where we are. Sometimes that means that we have to sit with uncomfortable emotions, supporting ourselves when we feel pain or sadness. It is unrealistic to expect to feel happiness all the time. We must remember that happiness does not result from the words if or when. For example, you may have really hoped that you could lose some weight. This is an admirable goal if you would like to increase your health and fitness. However, it can become unhealthy when you start to think I will look good when I am slimmer, or I will buy new clothes when I look good. In reality, now is the time to act, as now is really all we will ever have. By always putting off your happiness with if and when, you deprive yourself of all the positives of the moment, and by the time those ifs and whens arrive, there will be some new hope you will be projecting into the future. Be here now? Most of us learn our habits and ways of thinking from our parents, and some of us have grown up with less than happy lives. Our learned behaviors, even during adulthood, can still now have a dramatic impact upon our lives and the ways in which we view the world. For example, those of us who grew up in a traumatic or unsupportive environment may develop a view of the world as a scary and unpredictable place. This, again, requires a change of mindset. Just because this is what our experiences of the world have taught us, it does not follow that our beliefs about the world are necessarily true in every situation we will ever encounter. Negative perceptions such as this can filter our happiness through a layer of grey. Some common ideologies are "I am not good enough" or "I can never get it right," and we must consciously work to identify these and replace them with "I am enough today" or "I always give my best." We must also ensure that we try to come to each experience with fresh eyes. Otherwise, what could be a harmless interaction with a friend, during which they describe their day, becomes fraught with underlying meanings, where we seek the worst and look for evidence to support our unhappy beliefs that life is negative. By removing our grey-tinted spectacles and seeing that today is a new day and everything changes, we may be more able to look for reasons to believe that yes, this friend really does like me, rather than no, this person is wearing a mask of pretense. Be genuine in your praise of others and seek to see the good in them. This will be reflected back to you in the way they see themselves in your presence. If you want to feel good about yourself, it is always a good practice to share with others how they can do the same. And remember to take things at their face value. That gift you were given recently by someone you suspected gave it grudgingly, maybe they do like you after all. Chapter 4, Health. Medical professionals have long recognized the mind-body link, the reality that what we think really does affect our health. We hear stories of people dying of a broken heart and feeling sick with excitement. Many of our emotions, when truly experienced, manifest themselves as physical feelings within our bodies. For example, when we love someone we feel warmth, and when we are nervous we can have an uncomfortable feeling in the stomach. All of these ideas point to the fact that our thoughts have a profound effect on our bodies, a connection which we can explore to our advantage. When we visualize health, we also visualize how to live it. We think about staying in good shape and living an active lifestyle. This conjures up images of colorful fruit and vegetables, fresh air and smiling wind-flushed faces. By using the law of attraction, here, we can think about the health goals we would like to achieve and walk our way briskly towards them. It is not advisable to suddenly decide, upon reading this, that you would now like to drop 1/3 of your body weight by the end of the year. If the intention is to become healthier, then this may well manifest itself through you exploring some avenues of enjoyable exercise or enrolling yourself onto a low-fat cooking course to meet some like-minded people. A similar principle can work for increasing the level of nutrition in your diet. For example, a reasonable goal may be that you would like to eat a well-balanced diet filled with a variety of vitamins and minerals. This is no easy feat, if you are currently used to eating convenience food and chocolate bars every evening. However, by changing your thinking, you can change your habits. You must, once again, look at where the limiting thoughts lie. For example, you may wish to have more energy, but instead you tell yourself daily "I'm so tired." One way of changing this would be to instead tell yourself "I would like to have more energy." The solution to this thought is much more likely to result in a positive choice than the original thought. Long-term illness is, unavoidably, a more difficult problem to tackle, but can still be helped by positive thinking. The law of attraction can, for example, be used as a tool in the management of chronic pain. By being grateful for what we do have, we can shift the focus from what we don't and even alter our experience of physical suffering. Those who experience pain over a long period of time may develop negative thinking patterns, such as "I cannot bear this and it will never improve." This brings about emotional pain that only compounds the physical hurting. By retraining yourself in more helpful ways of thinking, like "this hurts and I have survived it before," you are able to unlock ways of helping you cope. The health of our minds is just as, if not more, important than the health of our bodies. We are able to deal with so much if only we can maintain a healthy mind. Look after your psyche first by regularly conducting a check-in with yourself as to how you are feeling. Ask yourself to identify any emotion that you are having right now and try to impartially explore what it may be linked to. Quiz yourself about the state of the rest of your body. Perhaps you may notice that your legs ache a little and could use a rest. Or maybe your heart is beating very quickly and this gives you an indication that a soothing activity would be helpful today. By paying attention to what your mind and body are telling you, as well as gently guiding your thoughts in the healthiest direction, you can stay strong and intuitive. Our bodies do so much every day without our awareness, and we do not stop to consider the way our muscles work to turn the pages or the way our lungs expand and do their life-giving work of delivering oxygen to our blood. Take a moment to feel pleased about this. Whatever the state of your health or unhealth, you are alive and complete. The age-old advice of doing more energetic activity in order to have more energy also applies here. As to attract what we desire, we must seek to generate it first within ourselves. If we allow ourselves to think unhealthy thoughts and as such attract an unhealthy life, then we run the risk of dying having never truly allowed ourselves to live. Chapter 5, Lifestyle. What we look for in life is usually what we will find. This simple statement can have life-changing properties if you consider that when you are looking for a brown suitcase it is unlikely that you will find a white dog. You must, therefore, look for beauty. This can be found in the dullest of activities which we all must do, as well as the passionate and fulfilling adventures of our own choosing. The trick is simply to look out for the best in them all. When you go anywhere with a small child, you will very often notice that they appear intensely interested in absolutely everything. If you are able to cultivate this interest in places, people and things, then you will have found the secret to enjoyment. Really, there is no secret, except to maintain your curiosity. Every scenario has the potential to teach us something new. If we embark on each outing with the spirit of adventure, always looking for something good, then we will be sure to find enjoyment everywhere we go. At some point, you will have had a conversation with someone who was very engaging. Their eyes would have sparkled with interest when you talked, and you would have looked forward to being in their company again. The chances are that this person was popular, well-liked and in demand socially. This person probably had a very active life and very little free time. It is also important to recognize that if you would like it, then this person could also be you. Indeed, the best way to have more of a person such as this in your life is to become one. One way of becoming the vibrant person you perhaps wish to be is to ensure that you always go where the smiles are. It is a universal truth that misery attracts misery, as the law of attraction sweeps into negative action to quickly join those experiencing sadness together to share their woes. In order to become one with the dynamic image we have for ourselves, it is therefore necessary to engage in some active planning. To break this down further, we must fill our time with meaningful activity. Bored people are boring, and doing nothing achieves nothing. Many of the best plans throughout history have begun humbly with a blank piece of paper and a pencil. You should start by putting your name in the center. Around your name you should write anything that comes to mind when you think of smiling. Whether this is the smell of cupcakes baking, the sound of your partner arriving home after work, or even a hug from a friend, leave no stone unturned in uncovering the source of your smiles. Only when you have exhausted your ideas and the space on your piece of paper, should you stop. Now that you have identified some of the things that may be the central focus of your desired lifestyle, it may be wise to group them into categories. No more than 5 would be a suggested starting point, as any more would be difficult both to manage and to remember. By keeping these priorities in mind whatever we do, we then become able to say yes to opportunities that fit in with what we want for ourselves and no to things that are not congruent with who we are and who we are becoming. It is okay to change these with whatever frequency it occurs. We are not fixed any more than the moving plates of the earth are, and our passions shift as much as the tides do. We can be forgiven for thinking that manifesting a desirable lifestyle may consist of acquiring the latest technical gadgetry or following a current trend. However, many of our deepest wishes are rather more timeless than this. The need to love and be loved. The wish to be part of a group of like-minded souls. The longing to be seen, understood and valued. Of these things, we must fill our time with wholesome and productive activities, yet it is important to be mindful that clarity often comes with silence. So even when your lifestyle is hectic with music, friendship or volunteering, remember to embrace the stillness of a quiet corner or a walk near the water. To appreciate the energy, we must have experienced the calm. Conclusion. The law of attraction can be summed up as the idea that we have to be as we would like to have. The properties that we hope to find in our activities and our relationships must first occur within us, as otherwise we have little hope of even recognizing them when we see them. A calm acceptance and a little distance is often all it takes to think carefully about what we would like to have and the best ways of getting there. Our beliefs hold the key to making things happen. It is worth remembering that expecting the worst will inevitably always bring it, while expecting the best can sometimes lead to disappointment. Therefore, perhaps sometimes it is better to have no expectations, and to simply concentrate on where we are right now in order to find an appreciation of it. Additionally, to create the life we want, we must pay attention to our thoughts, as they are the direct line to the outcome of our behavior. If we aim to do things every day that take care of ourselves, then we will be well equipped to offer love to others. A final idea to take away is that it is only by living in the here and now that we can ever hope to enjoy the future. Be a little more accepting of the things you don't have and a little more grateful for the things you do. You are here now, and you can have it if you want it. Preview of Tarot, the ultimate beginner's guide for learning the secrets of tarot cards. Chapter 1, Finding a Deck. Choosing a deck of cards. There are several different decks you can choose from when it comes to tarot cards, and which deck you choose will determine which craft you learn. The most important step in starting your journey to becoming a tarot card reader is to choose the deck of cards you will be working with wisely. You can always change the deck you're working with, so starting out with an easier to learn deck is probably going to be better. There are several steps you need to take in order to find the right deck for you. I'm going to state this right off the bat, you don't want to choose a tarot card deck on the internet. Do not order one through the mail, the internet, or any other method that doesn't allow you to see and touch the cards. That's because the first step you're going to take when you choose a tarot card deck is to go to a brick-and-mortar store and pick them up. You want to get the weight and feel of them in your hands. You're going to want to shuffle them and move them around in order to get an energy connection with them, and then you'll know when you find the right deck of cards. Most people are going to tell you the Rider-Waite deck is the best one to choose for beginners, but that's not always the case. Once you've felt them, take a long, hard look at them. You want to be sure you have a pleasant visceral reaction to them because you're going to be looking at them a lot. Plus, the visuals you have will aid you when you first start out. Now that you have picked your tarot card deck, you'll want to count the cards to be sure you're actually holding a tarot card deck and not something that just labeled as such. There should be 78 cards. More or less, and it's not a tarot card deck. If you're planning to do spiritual readings for others, you might want to get a second deck of cards. Each person who touches your cards will leave a spiritual reading, and you'll want your cards that you use for personal readings and practice to only have your energy on them. Therefore, while you're at the store, pick up a second deck of cards you'd like to use for others if you feel you're going to have the chance. There is one more important thing you must remember at choosing a deck of cards. You may be in the store one day and the deck calls out to you. Don't ignore it. You're going to change decks of cards throughout your lifetime, and it might just be the time to change. You'll know when you need to change your cards.